Welcome to Age Reversing Health, where we discuss ways to help you go far beyond just surviving this life, with practical and proven solutions to literally turning the clock back on aging so you can live your best life. Live younger for longer. Now, here's your hosts, Carl Krebs and Judy Friesen.
Welcome to Things That Matter for July 11th, 2024. This is our third segment of Things That Matter with Age Reversing Health. Wow, isn't that a statement to make? How is that possible to do? Joining me in studio today is a colleague of mine, a friend, and a 38-year veteran coach in health, Judy Friesen. Welcome to the studio, Judy.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, Carl. It's good to be with you.
Well, welcome to you out there on the West Coast. You know, when we say age reversing health, isn't that something to say? Doesn't that really just pique people's interest that it's possible to do? And we're going to talk about that today and the topic today, which I'm really excited about, as you're going to bring it to us, is the difference between health span and lifespan. But before we get started, we have a disclaimer we'd like to make. We are not doctors. Judy is a 38-year health coach, but not a doctor. And I am not a doctor, and we're not your doctor. What we are here to do is to give to you what we think are some critical details of how it's possible to live well, to live longer, and to live younger. Judy, 38 years as a health coach. Tell me what you have seen recently that has turned you into this belief about living younger. How is that possible, Judy?
Yeah, Carl, I came into this through my own health challenge and crisis, and I was not willing to give up on living life to its fullest, but I wasn't living life to its fullest because of my own health problem. And so I started investigating what else could the medical community offer me, and they ended up telling me that they had no other options for me, that I was to go home and live that way. And I said, no way. So I started looking into, is there anything out there that's not just snake oil that could really make a difference in my life? And I found the answer in holistic nutrition and medicine. And so from there, people started coming to me, and I started helping them out of just my own heart of wanting to see people get out of their predicaments, whether it was migraines, arthritis, or what have you. So I am here today because I really have experienced in my own life and the life of all my friends and so much of my family that when you help the body help itself to heal, it really can give you your whole life back. And not only just to live, but to actually reverse your age. And that sounded like science fiction to me at the time, but now I know it's actually possible.
Well, I have to agree. When I first encountered this, I said, you've got to be kidding me. How is it? I mean, I watched the movie Benjamin Button. I thought, but that's a movie. Come on. Is it possible? But I look at people today, and I have some friends of mine who have shown me pictures that they took 2, 3, 4 years ago, and the picture today is almost an entirely different person. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is health span and lifespan. I want you to talk a little bit about that, because there is a chasm of distance between those two topics when you talk about your lifespan and your health span. Let's flesh that out a little bit more, please.
Well, sure. A lot of people have heard the word lifespan, and that's just like exactly what it sounds like. How long will you live before you die? That's your lifespan. But you don't have to live your lifespan. You can live a health span, which means that you can have optimal health for as many years as possible until you get to the end of your life. Carl, so many people have just resigned themselves to the fact they're going to live in pain. They're going to lose mobility. They're going to have a care aid. They can't live their life without free of pain for the last 15, 20 years of their life. And so we don't want our listeners to think that it's a foregone conclusion that you're going to live with pain and degenerative disease in the last quarter of your life. So your health span is really what we call biological age, or something that denotes how well your body is functioning. So lifespan is just simply clocking off year by year, but your health span should be long and fruitful and without pain, and be able to not just survive, but to actually thrive in this world. That's what we really want. We want to enjoy our friends, our family, and our grandkids and our great grandkids. We can't do that if we're barely getting along and surviving each day. We want to help our listeners to learn ways to thrive and to have optimal health, getting rid of all your symptoms and not having to deal with just symptomology, but to deal with the root of the problem so that you can have better health.
Well, it's been said, never mistake a long life for a good life. And when we enter into those years, it's a sad resignation when someone says, well, I just stopped doing that. It just hurt too much. I couldn't do it. I lost the dexterity in my hands, the arthritis, or whatever it is. And we're not going to name these diseases here, but we're talking about debilitating things that affect our body. And, you know, when we resign ourselves to that, that is really almost the beginning of the end. But when we stand and say there must be, maybe there is, and we start looking for those, as you shared, you know, often our passions come from our deepest challenges, or perhaps our biggest hurts is where our passions come from. So you were faced with a crisis a few years ago, and you decided to battle back.
That's right, Carl. And I really love what you said, because the idea is that we need to give hope to each other. And I had hope in God that he would show me the way. And so my simple prayer of God help me turned into this wonderful, beautiful opportunity that I have to help hundreds and thousands of people just by showing a little bit of compassion, and by the research that I've done into seeing that there are answers out there that doesn't have to be pharmaceutical. We don't need to depend upon drugs. In fact, you know, it's often been said, when you have a headache, you're not deficient in Tylenol. You know, you're not deficient.
I love that.
You're not. We think that we're deficient because the commercials come on television and it says, you know, you need to have this, you need to have that. But actually, we're confused. There's three things that I want to help our listeners understand to paint the picture of why we're talking about age reversing health. Number one, we're confused in this land. We've confused medicine to not being anything about helping our bodies heal itself. We've confused ourselves by thinking we are deficient in a chemical, okay? In a man-made chemical. Number two, not only are we confused, but we've strayed. We've strayed from what? We've strayed from the Hippocratic oath that says, do no harm. And we need doctors. Don't get me wrong. If I'm in a car accident and I'm lying on the side of the road, I don't want a nutritionist. I want a surgeon. But for the most part, we need to have common sense here and to realize that we've strayed far away from the Hippocratic oath. Thirdly, not only are we confused, not only have we strayed, but we've actually forgotten that our body is an incredible, intelligent being that knows how to heal itself if given half a chance. So we've actually bought into the lie, Carl, that if we just get rid of the symptom, now hear me clear, the word symptom, we've bought into the lie that if we get rid of the symptom, then we've achieved good health. And nothing could be farther from the truth. It's not the lack of symptoms, it's this optimal health we've been talking about. And so I kind of teach my health clients this. If you're driving in a car and you hear a really big, loud, screeching noise, and you realize it's coming from the car engine, the first thing that you do is what? Put in earplugs. And now you say, I've solved the problem because I can't hear the screeching anymore. That's what we're doing to our health. When we get a pain, we put in proverbial earplugs, we put in painkillers. And so we block the connection from our body's nervous system coming up and telling our brain, you've got a problem, Houston. And so we think that by solving the symptom, the screeching, that we've solved the problem. It's nothing could be farther from the truth. We haven't solved our problem of our health going downhill. And so we want to talk today about how we can not only stop this whole madness of just dealing with symptoms and actually talk about how to help the body heal itself.
Yeah, and that is an excellent segue. So, to our listeners, I want to say that 20 years ago, a man entered onto the stage of the world and made he put forward a supposition that he believed that through natural healing modalities, the body could actually heal itself. His name was David Schmidt, and he was laughed at, much like David, who stood before the Goliath in the Bible that we know. He was laughed at, and we all know the story there. Today, Lifewave is one of the fastest growing businesses in the world. And David Schmidt has garnered the respect and admiration of hundreds, thousands of doctors around the world, as he has put forward the clinical proof to say that the technology exists and it is one of the most advanced light therapy treatments in the world, the Lifewave patch, that by simply putting on this all-natural patch, the body is being programmed to do incredible things. Talk about Lifewave X39 for a minute, because that product entered the market in 2018, which was 14 years after David Schmidt started his company Lifewave. But it was a game changer, and it still maintains itself as an incredible mechanism. Lifewave light therapy patches. Talk to our listeners about that, because you've been involved with this product for a number of years now.
Yeah, that's right. Over 4 years. And I want to also reiterate the disclaimer, which is that we are not, or nor is Lifewave, claiming that we are treating, curing, diagnosing, or healing any diseases. We are talking about giving the body a light signal. This is actually medical technology, and we're giving the body a light signal that actually stimulates the body's own natural immune system, its own natural fighter cells, to actually go and actually put down new cells and heal the body from whatever is going wrong inside the body. So this company that I've been with, this Lifewave company, this company has actually changing lives, because it's so simple, like what you're wearing it now today on your thymus gland.
Right here.
And
right
that
there, yeah.
patch, as long as it's nearby your body heat, it's actually being activated. There's nanoparticles inside the patch that are proprietary, and it sends a special low-level light signal back into your body. It's very gentle, it's very natural, and that actually helps to stimulate different systems in your body to heal, not at the speed of like a sledgehammer on an ant, like we do when we use pharmaceuticals, but in a gentle way that works with your own body's genetics and what you need for today, not what you needed yesterday or the day before. It's amazing technology that really can reverse a lot of what's going on in our bodies, which is aging too fast.
You know, I've certainly experienced it myself, because I've been using the product for 2 years as well. And most recently, I had a regular appointment with my doctor, as is required to maintain my commercial driver's license. And the doctor remarked, as he took my blood pressure, and when doctors say, oh, wow, you got to be listening for what's coming next, he says, you have incredible blood pressure. And a few years ago, that wasn't the case. Right. I was, like a lot of people, suffering from that. And again, we are not making any claims about what the patch can do, except for the fact that this all-natural patch has a way of stimulating the body. Talk about that for a minute, because what is it stimulating to create this regenerative state that we talk about?
Right. So this patch is what we call a non-transdermal patch. Most people know dermal patches, like the nicotine patch. You put it on your skin and it sends nicotine through the skin into the bloodstream, and it helps you to supposedly quit smoking. That's a dermal patch. These are non-transdermal patches, so they're not putting any medicine, any herb, any supplement. But what's happening is that the lattice work, think of a lattice work like this, and it's got little holes in it. And the actual light from your body is called infrared. It goes into that lattice work, and it gets reflected in these nanoparticle crystals, and it comes back through into the body. David Schmidt has figured out which low-level light wave works to stimulate the body's healing cells in the body. And when you stimulate those cells, that's what the body does, is it goes to work. If you've got cardiovascular problems, it'll go there first. If you've got sugar problems, it'll go there. It'll go to whatever it feels is the actual priority of the body. So it's a very simple matter of understanding that our bodies work in a priority sequence. So when you put the patch on, if you've got 3 or 4 degenerative diseases, it's up to the body to decide which one it works on first, or it may work on all 3.
So talk about what kind of person can actually use the X39, because I've listened to pediatricians talk about using the patches on children as long as they're able to communicate. So who are the people that can use this patch and benefit from this technology?
So the patch that you mentioned is the X39, and that's the name that we give to the patch. That is our standard foundational patch that does 8 things in the body. It's clinically been proven through rigorous testing over 20 years of research, and there are clinical studies that have been published to show this. This patch is good for anybody, as you say, that can speak. And why do we say that? Because when you put the patch on, sometimes it'll give you energy flowing in your body and you can feel it. If it's a little too much, you want that person to be able to speak and say, oh, it feels funny, mommy. So you don't want to put it on an infant of 6 months. You want to put it on somebody that can communicate with their parent. But the patch is generally used on anybody that has any kind of symptom where they're experiencing problems and they don't want to just put a Band-Aid on the symptom. They want to actually get to the root of the problem. And your body's intelligence will go to town and it'll start to lay down the new healthy cells and get rid of the old cells. Like, Carl, you'd never want to buy an old rickety house and go in there and lay new carpet on top of the old moldy carpet. Well, your body doesn't do that either. It wants to rip up the old carpet, get rid of maybe the moldy floorboards, put down the new stuff, and then put the new carpet on top. Your body will do that if given half a chance. But here's the issue. A lot of us have reasons through the toxicity in our environment, through the nutrient depletion in our soils, and through all the crappy foods that we are being offered that have no nutrition in them. They're just a bunch of air and salt and fat and sugar. And so we have a problem in our bodies, is that we are craving to have some more nutrition to be able to turn over the kind of foods that we eat better. Well, when you get older, meaning over age 20, 25, those cells that turn over and lay down the new carpet that turn over, those cells start to get old and tired, and they don't replace themselves. And if you don't have those kind of special cells that we often have talked about as being stem cells, if you don't have those turning over your good cells in your body, you're going to age really, really, really fast. So these patches that you wear just simply help that process, so you can actually turn over the cells in your body and start to feel younger faster.
So we've got an all-natural product that utilizes specific frequencies of light that passes nothing through the skin, but stimulates the body to generate these fighter cells. We used to call them stem cells, but we are under new compliance regulations as to what we can say. What's the process that happens? Because my understanding is it's GHKCU, a naturally occurring peptide in the body that was first discovered by Dr. Lauren Picard. And this copper peptide has been internationally recognized as the peptide that produces these fighter cells, as we now call them. That's the part where the body regenerates. And as you said, as we age, we have a depletion of those cells, which is again why we tend to, in our younger age, heal faster, age slower. And then we reach that tipping point where we are aging faster and healing slower. But it's possible to turn that back.
And Carl, I was just thinking about how I had a paper cut the other day in my finger. Think about it. When you were 10 or 15 or even 20 and you had a paper cut on your finger, it healed the next day. But now that we're in our 40s, 50s, and 60s, why does it take 2 or 3 or 4 days to heal? That's because those fighter cells are not being replaced as often. And so this patch is just simply answering this question, and that is, why am I not healing very quickly? And it's because you don't have enough of these fighter cells. So this patch is really a wonderful technology to the world. You don't have to have injections of these fighter cells anymore. You can literally put the patch on and let it work all day long in a gentle way. And you'll start to notice that you heal faster. All of your aches and pains will start to go away. I found that my arthritis in my thumbs went away. The hair color came back in my hair. I was almost all white. I have seen my age reverse as a result of wearing this technology.
I think one of the most powerful things that we've encountered with colleagues and people trying the X39 is the testimony that comes. And you know, there's something about a testimony that cannot be refuted. It is your story. It's much like anything else that you've encountered in your life. No one can accuse you of being a liar when you're saying, well, you can say that that's not true, but I watched it. Take a look. And there's proof of it. We can show pictures and that. So this process is possible to do, but the patches are clearly not the be all end all. We must eat good food. We must exercise. Our food is, as you said earlier, deficient of nutrients and vital supplements that we need. So supplements weighs it in. But when you round off and complete that fourth pillar of your new health plan with Lifewave patches, you've got a game plan that's truly going to expand your health span.
That's right. And, you know, Carl, you mentioned earlier about this GHK-CU. And so I wanted to touch upon that this patch specifically, when the light goes into your body, it activates a naturally occurring peptide in your body, in your skin. And it's called this copper peptide. It's been studied for 40, 50 years by Dr. Lauren Picard and others. I went on to PubMed last night, Carl. There is 148 published clinical writings, professional writings in PubMed.gov that talk about this GHK-CU and what it can do in the body. The trouble is that GHK, that copper peptide that's naturally occurring, depletes as we get older. And so we need something to accelerate it. And these patches can do that. Now, you're right. Besides the patches, we need to eat right. And one of the things that we need to eat are copper containing foods. So our body has the fuel to make this GHK so that the patch works well and most effectively. And so there are certain foods that people can eat to help them, or to take a natural copper supplement. But yes, exercise, water is key. If these patches are going to have the energy flowing through our bodies and accelerating and exciting these special cells that we've been talking about, you need to have water. You need to have your body well hydrated. So it's water, it's good food, it's exercise, get out in the sun and breathe fresh air as much as you can. Stay away from a lot of the additives and the harmful chemicals. And this is a recipe, Carl, for not just living, but this is a recipe for literally turning back the hands of time.
You know, I think women would be surprised to know that one of the sources of copper is in chocolate. I mean, not just any chocolate, but good dark chocolate. I think it has to have about a 75% cacao ratio in it.
That's right.
But when we put this into practical terms, as we're bringing this now, we want to make it relevant to our listeners.
Yeah.
We talk about age reversing health. And I want to say that it's not about just looking younger or even feeling younger. It's about being able to live younger. I imagine imagine a person who's of age. He's got his lifespan has been clicking off, as you say, with every day and week and month. He's getting older according to the biological clock. But imagine a person of experience. Let's say put him in the workforce. He's 60 years old. Probably people are thinking time to retire. Why? Just because you're 60? Yeah, apparently so. But imagine that person regenerating and feeling younger, and now having the energy of a 40-year-old. And believe it or not, folks, it's possible to go that far back. Take together the experience of that individual and the youth and vitality that he had 20 years ago, what an incredible recipe to live even longer and better. And what else could you contribute to the world around you because of your renewal of your health?
Exactly. Think about what you can contribute, as in you can now volunteer and do things for people. They say that the number one killer besides degenerative disease is loneliness. And our seniors are so lonely. Why? Because they can't get out, because they've lost all their muscle mass. They can't even get themselves off the couch, the chair without help. Now you can get seniors coming out. And what about if they could go to the libraries and read to our kids, read books to our kids, or help at
good books.
And good books, that's right. And they would be dressed according to their gender. And
yes.
we would have the seniors actually helping the teachers. So many seniors have amazing experiences. They have stories to tell about what they did when they were in the war. There's so much that we can do, but we lack the energy. And it's all because we do not know how to take care of ourselves. We're depending upon the medical system to give us a pill, and we want instant success within 3 days. But I'll tell you, Carl, if a person has got a long game in mind, they're willing to put this patch on for at least 3 months, they're going to notice huge changes. For every decade that you've been alive, you need to consider this therapy. So if you're 60 years of age, don't stop at trying this technology called Lifewave patches. Don't stop at 1 month. You need 6 months because you've lived 6 decades. That's an amazing ratio. If you got a return on your investment of a 10-to-1 ratio, you'd say, wow, I'm in. So your body is willing to actually reverse and to heal your body, but it needs a few months to do that. After all, if you've lived 60 years on the planet, you need a few years to reverse your health. Well, with these patches, instead of a few years, Carl, now you can just take a few months and you can start to see your body change. I am excited about this. I apologize, but I am so excited that we can make a difference in this world, not just with our health, but as you said, with helping people. The whole change in our communities can change if we can get people off the couch and feeling energetic.
I'll tell you what, I love your excitement, because I feel it as well. And many people we know that are using the Lifewave patches, and particularly the X39, are experiencing a renewal. So we've got a few minutes left here. Practical things to keep the old man out. You know, Clint Eastwood was recently interviewed. Well, it wasn't recent. It was a while ago. And the interview prompted the late, Toby Keith, pardon me, bless his memory, loved his music, to write a song about how to keep the old man out. You know, I catch myself. I get off the couch and I'm pushing off the couch. Why am I not exercising those leg muscles and those abdominal muscles to lift myself like that? There is a way that we can sink, literally into the couch and sink into despair, with our health. So just a few practical things that might come to mind that you can share with our listeners. We talked a lot about the patch, but it takes more than the patch.
Yeah, like what you said, exercising. Even if you can park your car 3 blocks away and then walk to your appointment, or when you go to the mall, don't get mad and say, why can't I get a parking spot close to the door? On purpose, park the farthest back corner of the mall. Not only will you protect your car, hopefully, from getting dinged, but
there's a good tip.
Get the exercise. But you know what? Instead of getting off the couch, as you say, by pushing your arms against the couch, use your thigh muscles and maybe do it 3 or 4 or 5 times. Go up and down, up and down. Try it. And it is interesting. The number one thing that causes people to go into assisted living is that they can't get themselves literally off the toilet because it's quite low to the floor. And there's no couch arms on the toilet to push themselves off. And so instead of having to go into assisted living when we get older, let's practice already to keep our muscles strong and agile, and practice every time you go anywhere. Just take a few extra steps.
Excellent. As a trucker, I'm practicing that for years now. I park my truck on the back lane, the back row, and walk to the building, and it makes a difference. And I find that it energizes me just to do that. And and you get the muscles working, you get the blood flowing. You know, the truck driving, and we're going to be talking to truckers about this. It's a very sedentary job. You're sitting here for hours, and I'll tell you, I observe truckers in truck stops all over America, and it breaks my heart to see the depreciated state of their bodies, knowing that you didn't get there overnight. It happens in a slow migration. And so when we talk about age reversing, as you said earlier, we like to take a sledgehammer to an ant, but we've got to realize, and you said it too, 1 month of using the product for every decade of your life is at least a good starting point, because you have to turn this thing around. You didn't get there overnight. We didn't get here overnight. We got here, and now it's a slow turning, as the song goes, and bring it around.
And you know, Carl,
Go ahead.
the final thought is there are going to be some of our listeners out there that are going to say, but Judy, but Carl, I am so down. I'm so depressed. I'm so weak. I've got so much pain. I'm not interested in trying to do exercises off my couch or go walk an extra block. I can't even walk down the hallway. And I say to those people, then start with the patch technology, which will lower your pain, lower your inflammation, help you to actually start to want to actually exercise. So sometimes you can't put the horse before the cart, right? And so I'm suggesting that put on the patch, get that willpower going, and you'll find out in a month or 2 or 3 that you're going to want to drink more water, you're going to want to eat better, and you're going to want to exercise. So if you're stuck out there and you don't know what to do first, then I would say, if you can't handle all the advice that we've been giving here today, start with one thing, and that is, who can't put on a sticker on their chest? Who can't put a sticker on their arm or on their back of their neck? Why live with more pain than you need to? Just get started. Take the baby step of getting these patches. They can reach out to us. There's going to be a way for them to do that. And we can help them to literally have real answers, not snake oil, but real answers to help them to not just survive, but to thrive.
One final thought in light of discussing the Lifewave Advanced Light Therapy patches, and particularly X39. The company has a money-back guarantee. How's that? Try finding any health product out there. Try anything you might have been ascribed to you by way of a prescription, and try to get your money back when it doesn't work. Lifewave has a money-back guarantee. Judy, thank you so much. Well, I want to say at the conclusion of our broadcast here, our very first broadcast of Things That Matter, thank you for watching. I want to thank all of my hosts. I want to thank my guests who appear, and I'll also give a big shout out to Brad Wilder, the producer of the show, who did a fantastic job getting all these pieces in place. Our intention, my intention in a go forward here, is to truly talk about the things that matter. And some of those things are going to be maybe different than what we're talking about here. And I encourage you to get in contact with us, get in contact with me, talk to me about the things that matter. It may be about our food and how it's being brought to us and the cost of it. It may be about our caring for our kids, our education. It could be about your health, but there may be other things. And we certainly want to communicate you. I want to speak to you heart to heart, because when we do that, things are going to change and we're going to be empowered. And when we're empowered, we find our rhythm and we find our purpose, and we want to go forward and affect the world, and ultimately leave the world in a better place than we found it. So I look forward to seeing you here next time on Things That Matter. God bless you.